Hey guys, welcome to another video. So this is reviewing Man City now, Man City season in the Premier League so far. Obviously this is assuming the season's going to carry on after this coronavirus ends. So Man City obviously second in the Premier League, 57 points, so quite a way off Liverpool, as I mentioned in the previous video. Not a very good season from them, I wouldn't say, in terms of the league. I'll speak about it a bit later in this video, about what I think they need to do to improve going on to whether it's this season or the next. So obviously going into the cup competitions, they obviously won the League Cup. They beat Aston Villa in the final, which was a good result for them. Again, even in that game, they didn't really play that well. Even though they went 2-0 up quite quickly, they became a bit complacent, I thought, and they started to not play very well. Villa got back into the game, and they could have actually equalised and potentially gone on won it, because they were all over them towards the end of the game. But anyway, they got that in the bag and won that. In terms of the FA Cup, they're in the quarterfinals. Newcastle away. Again, if it gets played or not, we don't know. But obviously, City going well in both cups. In terms of the Champions League, they obviously won the first leg in the round of 16 against Real Madrid. They won 2-1. A very good performance from Man City. We sort of thought. I sort of thought when Man City were drawn against Real away in the first leg, I thought it's quite a tough game for Man City, but Real Madrid aren't exactly the same. Obviously they got, your Ramoses, Modric, Kroos, those type of players. But obviously they put trouble with Real Madrid is obviously they haven't replaced Ronaldo, and he's the kind of player you can't replace. So they're not sort of Real Madrid of old, and not really going that well in the league, that sort of thing. Sort of getting a few good results and losing. So it was a game I thought City could potentially get a result at. And again, they didn't really pad it well. It was only sort of towards the late sort of second half. Then obviously they got their 2 goals and won the game. So yeah, very good away performance from Man City in the Champions League. And obviously if it is played or not, obviously they've got a lead to defend, obviously at the Etihad. In terms of, as I mentioned at the start, with their season, they've obviously, last season winning the league, obviously winning those amount of games in a row, was obviously outstanding. Many other teams probably couldn't do what Man City did last season and win that amount of games, having to come out every single week and know you have to win the game, because if you slip up, there's Liverpool, but they won every game, won their most important game, which is their game in hand, and they won the league by 1 point. Obviously there are a few hairy moments. Obviously against Leicester is the one that sticks out for me, where it was 0-0, struggling to break them down, and then Kompany scores from about 35 yards out, a worldie, and they win the game 1-0. Obviously this season has been a bit more of a struggle, obviously because of how good Liverpool have been, how relentless they've been. They just haven't, apart from one game, they haven't lost any games. They've just constantly been winning. They've hardly drawn any games, and they've just been outstanding. Man City are quite far away, but the difference between obviously Man City last season and Man City this season is obviously one, lost a lot more than they did last season, and obviously they've failed to replace, in terms of, for them, one of their best players they've probably ever had in Vincent Kompany. Obviously a lot of people sort of have mixed opinions about him. I don't know why, because I think he was a class defender. One of the probably best defenders we've seen probably in the Premier League for a while. And obviously he'd been there for so long. He'd been there since like the start of when Man City started getting the money in. Back in the sort of Robinho, Elano days, if you remember Man City that far back. And he's been there since the start. of their sort of journey, if you so to speak, of sort of being a nobody on a nothing club to now probably one of the best teams in the world. You know, out there with sort of your Barca, Madrid, PSGs, Liverpools, those type of teams. And obviously they failed to replace him. I think that's a pretty naive from Man City, and it's naive as well from Guardiola to say, "Oh no, well the team's good enough. You know, we don't need to replace him. We've got Laporte. Yeah, Laporte might be a very good centre back, but he's not quite on Kompany's level. I don't think he's still got to get used to the Premier League. I think it's mainly the other side. Obviously, only having Stones and Otamendi aren't great centre backs. Unfortunately, Stones he struggles, I think, with confidence. John Stones, you know, when you get at him and he's struggling, he has a bad game. But you know, the days when he actually does have a good game, he does play very well. But you know, because he's quite a confident player on the ball. Sometimes he tries to overplay, whereas, you know, in some situations you need to just boot it off the pitch or, you know, boot it upfield, that kind of thing. But he tries to like be fancy with it and pass, and that's where the majority of sometimes City's goals they've conceded, you know, have come from that. Otamendi as well. Ever since he's sort of come to City, he's been a bit rash anyway. But again, like sort of Stones, he tries to sort of play it the Guardiola way, sort of play it out, that kind of thing. And again, like I said with Stones, you know, in sometimes situations like that, you just got to clear it. And you know, he tries to play it out and be fancy with it, and as well, which is where, you know, they conceded their goals from. Also, in terms of how he's done it, obviously Guardiola has got annoyed with obviously Stones or Otamendi their lack of form. And he's decided to put Fernandinho in centre back, and that's where I think a lot of sort of City's problems have come about this season, is obviously from having Fernandinho centre back. You know, Fernandinho has tried, and some games he has played really well, but a few times he has been exposed because obviously he's a midfielder playing centre back. You know, and obviously him playing centre back means they lose the creativity and protection he offers the back four by him not being in midfield. So, you know, it's catch-22 in sort of that sense. But, you know, it sort of shows, you know, if Guardiola's telling the Man City board, look, we need a centre-back. And because we haven't got the quality of centre-backs in our club at this moment, I'm playing a midfielder in centre-back. But, again, as I said, I think it's just naive from Man City in that sort of sense. You know, they've got the money. They know, you know, obviously they have to comply with financial fair play now, and obviously they've been suspended from Europe for next season. So obviously their main probably target is going to be both cup competitions and the league for next season, because obviously they're suspended from Europe. So, you know, obviously if they sell a few players, you know, i.e. Otamendi, Stones, and, you know, a few of the Deadwood players they have got in their club, they could comfortably buy a centre-back. You know, what? Obviously the going price for centre-back now is probably 65 million plus, and then they got the money. So that's what I think Man City need to do. Obviously they got players like David Silva, who's retiring, I think in the end of this season. Obviously they got a youngster sort of Foden coming along if he can step up to the plate. We've still got Aguero, Jesus, De Bruyne are up there, Sane if he stays. So, you know, their forward, Sterling obviously as well. So obviously their forward line is fine. Maybe sort of another midfielder when obviously Fernandinho goes, and obviously a centre back. Those are sort of the things I think Man City need to improve on if they're gonna obviously respond to obviously Liverpool obviously winning the league this season. If they do, if they're not, whatever happens, we don't know yet. Obviously, when they do, you know, obviously Man City are going to want to respond. So yeah, in terms of obviously Man City goal scorers, it's all evenly shared around the team. Sergio Aguero is their top scorer, 23 goals. Then you got Raheem Sterling, 20 goals. and Gabriel Jesus 18, and the next one down for that's De Bruyne. So it is evenly shared around Man City. I've just got one player banging them all in. Obviously I'm not criticising them for the way they play and stuff like that, but when obviously the way they play works, which is obviously the passing football, building from the back, keeper passing it out, that kind of thing, like Guardiola's played at Barcelona and Bayern Munich, those kind of teams, it is good to watch, and obviously that's where they get all their goals from. The passing football, passing and move, low and hard crosses in, that kind of thing, and it is good to watch. But I just think this season, with obviously what they haven't done in the transfer market, which they should have done, I think that's why obviously they've lost. I think they've lost 7 games, and obviously I think that's why. Teams now when they come to the Etihad, they're not scared so much now to play at the Etihad. Obviously a couple of seasons back, last season definitely, teams would come to the Etihad and think, if we just sit back, hopefully catch them on a break, maybe get a goal and see what happens. Whereas sort of this season, people think, right, we'll take the game to Man City. Once we've got past the midfield, we've only got Stones and Otamendi there. That's no worries, let's go for it. And that's why I think teams have started to pick up results there this season, whereas last season no one barely beat them. I think only Palace did. There was one other team I think did beat them at their place as well. But whereas this season quite a few teams have either got a point or one at their place. So yeah, that is my review of Man City season so far. Obviously, any Man City fans that stumble across this video, what do you think about your club season so far? Do you agree with what I said in terms of what needs to be improved for next season? Do you see yourself getting the top 4? And what do you see for next season with obviously your European ban in place? Do you see yourself just going all out for the cup competitions and obviously the Prem? Any other fans, do you agree with what I've said about Man City? And just finish off as well in terms of rating. I'm going to give Man City 7.5 out of 10. Mainly is because I think obviously their league, even though obviously they're second, and yes, that is a good position, but I feel like obviously they haven't played up to their potential this season. Obviously, because they didn't replace Kompany and stuff like that, or buy a midfielder to replace Fernandinho. I feel that's why I'm giving them so low. Why it's sort of high 7s is because obviously their Champions League performance and obviously winning the League Cup and obviously being there in the FA Cup. Obviously they did win the Community Shield at the start of the season, so obviously they have won 2 if you're counting Community Shield. Some clubs do, some clubs don't, but it is still a trophy. It's the winners of the league versus the winners of the cup. So yeah. So obviously they have won trophies this season, so that's why they're 7.5, but don't think they're quite up there with Liverpool's rating that I gave in the last game. So anyway, in the last video, sorry. So anyway guys, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be on Leicester. Take care guys, and goodbye.